Welcome back to Lem's Cryptoverse. So today, what I want to talk about is the sell I put out about 2 weeks ago. Actually, I don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is I put out a sell and I said the market could still go up a week or so, a week or two, and I gave some price levels. And the market still kept going up. But what happened is the narrative changed, not just for stocks, but for crypto, in particular Bitcoin. So here's what happened. And I'm just looking at my notes here because I've got a lot to talk about. So the first thing that happened is that a lot of on-chain metrics were showing that we're coming out of a bear market into a new bull market. So this looks really good. Excuse my cold, by the way. So it looked like we were going to a new bull market. I saw, and I was aware of all these on-chain metrics that were saying they were bullish, except it's my view that we're still in a bear market for crypto. And that's because the macro situation is actually getting worse. Yes, my friends, it's getting worse because the fundamental news of the economy is getting worse. And what I mean is that good news is bad news, meaning, again, that the soft and hard economic data, and I think you saw this data, for example, the labor report was hugely strong. And data like that means that rates are going to go higher. So the narrative for stocks had been that the Fed was going to pivot, if you recall, and maybe rates would be going down the second half of the year. And the Fed, even Jay Powell said that, or alluded actually, that he would like wait and see. He mentioned, he admitted a few things. One thing in particular is that a Fed data is lagged, and that when he raises rates, the economy has a lag to it, so the economy could still be strong. So he alluded that he would stop raising rates, perhaps. I was thinking maybe he'll raise rates one more time, maybe. But now, for sure, it looks like rates are going to go up either 25 basis points or 50 basis points the next meeting, and then another 25 basis points. I don't even think Jay thought this was going to happen. So basically, Jay Powell is going to keep raising rates and economic data is strong. So that's why stocks recently have been declining rapidly. And what that's doing is pulling down the Bitcoin prices. But the thing is, here's what I want to talk to you about today. That actually two things. Number one, that people are saying there's bullish on-chain metrics, and I want to show you those because I want to be fair. So I'm bearish, but some of the on-chain metrics are bullish, and you can look at it for yourself and make your own decision. Because remember, I'm not here to give you financial advice. The second thing I want to talk to you about, I'm going to show you some charts, is NFTs. So let's get started. The first one here is, you know what? Let me just minimize myself here so you could see my hand gestures. Here you could see in Glassnode, and this just came out. This is Glassnode, their weekly update, and they do a video with this too. And in this video, in this case, this is an article, they're showing that, again, that Bitcoin's doing really well. It's been rallying. Actually, to me, it looks like almost like it's being manipulated by whales. I don't know if if one is able to manipulate Bitcoin because it's such a huge market cap. But the chart to me looks suspicious the way it just went up recently. You can see in the green how it went up so fast, and then in the green candlesticks here again. To me, this looks suspicious. And remember, if you go to a longer term chart, there was a huge amount of resistance between 25 and 30,000. Because if you recall, this is where FTX and Alameda went bankrupt. And so there was a lot of panic selling. So those investors are going to want to get out once we breach around this level where we are here. So for me, already I'm seeing two issues. Number one, resistance points. Number two, it almost looks like market manipulation. And number three, actually, we got 3 points, the macro. If stocks go down, stocks are going to pull down Bitcoin and crypto along with it. But let me show you some more charts and even some bullish charts. For example, everyone's talking about the golden cross. And here it is. We breached that golden cross, which is very bullish. And this data comes to you from Lykion. Lykion, it sounds like a name of a hedge fund, by the way, but that's the name of where the Greek philosophers and intellectuals, they met in this area to discuss, like I said, philosophy and history and things like that. I guess it's an old version of today's Starbucks. And they show you the performance after the golden cross. In short term, you can see in the 30-day, the median return is actually minus 5%. So it's not as good or has been as consistently correct as you might think. It's only correct long term. And I would say it's only correct long term because the Bitcoin goes up long term. So I'm not sure how accurate this is. So I don't know. The golden cross, people use it. I don't think it's a good indicator, especially in the short term, golden cross. And I want to show you one more data point. This is a January effect. They're saying if the market goes up in January, it's going to go up for the full year. And this is not just for stocks, but it's also for Bitcoin. And you can see historically that's been the case except for 2014, where it went down 56%. And I think that was it. And this is just something else here showing that negative yielding debt has disappeared. So again, this points to the macro view that sub-zero debt is vanishing and liquidity remains tight, except there's one exception for the short term, and that's the debt ceiling. The Federal Reserve is actually releasing cash onto the market because of the debt ceiling. Otherwise, we might see some tightening again monetarily. So one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and this goes back to Glassnode's on-chain metrics, is this. I mentioned to you earlier NFTs. I think you all heard of the encryption wave, and this is related to UX. We've got a lot of words here, a lot of letters, a lot of acronyms. This is related to UTXOs. I think it's all related. I think everything's all related. NFTs, non-fungible tokens, UTXOs, Blocksize. We're talking about Bitcoin here. So you've got UTXOs, and I could read you what that is here. I guess they don't mention it. Basically, it's encryptions, and I think it's related to the creation of Ordinals or NFTs on the Bitcoin platform. And you could see it's grown here, and there's a lot of evidence. And they're using Taproot, which is like a way of having a private transactions being sent out to and from on the Bitcoin platform. And that's reached an all-time high, that Taproot in usage. And I think, again, this is related to NFTs, and you could see like it's grown like crazy. And lastly, the average block size has also seen a dramatic growth, dramatic changes, they say, compared to the pre-encryption ceiling. Again, I think this is all related to Ordinals or / NFTs on Bitcoin. And which leads me, before I talk to you about the bullish data people seeing on Bitcoin, I want to talk to you about what I'm seeing on NFTs. So there's a lot of growth of Ordinals, basically NFTs on Bitcoin. And I'm not sure this is a good thing for the crypto market, particularly for Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin should stay in its lane. I think that Bitcoin has a great use case as being a digital coin and a place to store your money. And I don't think Bitcoin should do much more than that. Maybe payments. We all talk about the Lightning Network, layer 2. So I think maybe Bitcoin is good for that. But really, I think Bitcoin should stay in its lane. Why? Because as you all know that there's or have been, because a lot of them have gone bust, 20,000 or so cryptocurrencies. And some of these cryptocurrencies, or many of them, are new. And remember, anything that's new, mostly anything that's new is going to have better technologies. And we all talk about Ethereum killers, and that's a good example. And they could be Bitcoin killers too. So we want to make sure that Bitcoin just stays in its lane, because Bitcoin is not being, how should I say, upgraded as quickly as these new layer ones. And then you have got cutting edge layer twos, and we all talk about optimism and arbitron and Polygon, basically zero knowledge proofs, all these rollups. There's a lot going on in layer 0, Cosmos, Avalanche, Polkadot, layer 1, as I mentioned, and layer 2s. So I really think that Bitcoin should just do what it does best. I think that long-term NFTs may actually lower Bitcoin's long-term value. So I'm a little skeptical of that. But you be the judge. You can make your own decision. Now, I want to get, for my last part, I want to talk about the bullishness that people see in on-chain metrics. This is just a CoinDesk article, by the way, saying that Bitcoin's UTXOs are close to all-time highs. What does it mean? And I already mentioned that to you. You could take a look at this article yourself. It's from February 14th. But let's get talking about some on-chain metrics. So here, one of the best on-chain metrics that I look at is the MVRV ratio. I actually like to look at the Z-score, but this particular dashboard doesn't talk about the Z-score, which is similar to this anyway. So when it's green, when you're in the green area, it's bullish. So now we're coming off the green area. So that's seen as an indication that we're in the early stages of bull market. And I'm going to show you lots of these charts. They're all going to say the same thing. Here's another one. Net unrealized profit and losses. Now, you could see we had a lot of losses, and that's in blue, but now we're starting to get in green here. So that's getting more bullish. We're starting to see some unrealized profits because we're in the beginning of a bull market. This goes on and on, so I don't want to talk about every single chart because they tend to be repetitive. Here, Bitcoin supply and profit. And so you want this to me, you want this to be low in the bear market and then start trending up, and that's what we're seeing in the beginning of a bull market. And here's one of my favorite, and I think this is the last one, second to last. This is the Puell multiple. You want this multiple to be in the green when you're in the bottom of a bear market. And remember, this is the Puell multiple for mining. This just looks at average cost, realized cost versus average cost for miners. It just shows you how much money miners are losing. That's all it really says. But it's a very accurate, historically, it's a very accurate ratio. And you can see we're coming off this bear market bottom. So everyone's saying that's bullish. And lastly, I want to focus on this. You can't see it too clear. I wonder if I could blow this up for you guys. Let me see if I can make this larger. For some reason, it's not getting larger. But let me just show it here. So basically, this is CryptoQuant's own version of the on-chain bull market cycle indicator. Basically puts everything together. It puts a few indicators like your profit and loss and moving averages together, and they make their own total market cycle indicator. And you could see we're in green here. This is saying, you could see here in green, it's showing that we're in the early stage of a bull market. So all these indicators together are saying that we're at early stage of a bull market. But again, I am very worried about this. I think it's going to be very difficult for Bitcoin. And remember, crypto altogether, overall, is related to Bitcoin, all moves together. And Bitcoin is joined at the hip to the stock market. And the stock market is joined at the hip to interest rates and the Federal Reserve and the liquidity cycle. And because the liquidity cycle is still getting tighter, the Fed's still raising rates, I think the bull market is false. I think this is a false signal, and that people may be getting fooled. I want to be very conservative here, and I like to do good risk management. Good risk management means if you see a big data signal that's saying, hey, even though all these on-chain metrics are saying buy, 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 it's a new bull market. If you've seen that one major, and this is a major signal indicator that, and this is not like astrology, this is not technical indicator, this is a fundamental indicator saying that there's a strong economy and the Fed will keep tightening. When you see that, you gotta wear your risk manager hat and say, hey, this might be a false breakout from the stock market and in the crypto market. So that's what I'm saying. So be careful out there and do not chase the bull market. I hope to see you all later, and don't forget to like us. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.